Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Gift and you're welcome to Gift and She Couture. So in today's tutorial, I want us to learn how to cut a corset. Alright, if you've been having difficulties in cutting, don't worry, this video is for you. So if this is your first time of coming across my channel, please do also subscribe, like, share, comment, subscribe so you can always get notifications whenever I post a new video. So without wasting much of our time, let's go into the detail. So the first thing you're going to do, place your pattern paper and mark 1 inch. So after marking the 1 inch, connect. So that 1 inch is our top line. That's where our shoulder is going to start from. So from there, go ahead and mark your half length. So my half length is 17.5. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it. After you are done marking your half length measurement, so the next measurement is to go ahead and mark your bust point and your under bust. So place your tape roll on the top line just like what you're seeing on the screen and mark your bust point. So my bust point is 10.5 and my under bust is 13.5. So after you are done, go ahead and mark it just like what you're seeing, and so connect the lines just like what you're seeing on the screen. You don't have to rush. Alright, so after connecting the line, it should look like this. So the next measurement you are going to do, since we are not stopping at the half length, alright, we are making a top. So from your waist downward, go ahead and mark 5 inches. So mine, that's what I marked. So if you want your own to be a little longer, you can increase it to 7 or 8. So after you are done marking it, the next measurement is to go ahead. Now the total of what I have is 22.5 as my top length. Alright, I don't want it to be too long. The next measurement is to go ahead and divide my shoulder into 2. So my shoulder is 14, my shoulder front. So before then, let's go ahead and label it. The bust point, the under bust, and the half length, then the top length. Alright, so after that, let's go ahead and divide our shoulder measurement into 2. Mine is 14 divided into 2, you get 7. So from there, mark 1.5 to connect the shoulder slope. So before that, go ahead, let's create a neckline. I use 2.5, and then for the neck depth, I'm going to use 2.5 as well to connect the lines. This is not the neck we are using. We are just using this to get the shape of the neck in order for us to connect our shoulder slantly, just like what you are seeing on the screen. So after you are done doing that, go ahead and connect your shoulder slantly, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done doing that, the next thing is to go ahead and measure our armhole. So in order to get the length of our armhole, divide your bust by 6, and whatever you have, add 1 to it, 1.5 to it. So my bust is 36 divided by 6. You have 6, and then I added 1.5 to it, making 7.5. I guess. So from there, go ahead and mark it. So from your bust point upward, go ahead and mark the same measurement. Alright, and then connect the lines just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done doing, go ahead and label it across chest or the chest line. So from there, whatever you have on your shoulder, bring it down, or you minus it by ½ inch, and then connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done connecting, on the chest line, go ahead and measure your bust point. So my bust point, my bust measurement, my bust is 36. So I'll mark 9 divided, that's 36 divided by 4, I have 9. Now, how to contour your armhole from your shoulder to where the chest line is, divided by 2. Whatever you have, that will be your midpoint, and then contour your armhole. So on that midpoint, go in by ½ inch and connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done connecting, if you don't have French cuff, you can use your hand to contour the armhole. Let's go ahead and cross check our. So my total of my armhole is 8.5, and that's what I got. All right. So after you are done, the next measurement is to go ahead and divide our bust span into two. So for me, my bust span is 7.8. I'm going to divide it by 2, so and marked it on the line. So I don't know about yours, so go ahead and divide yours into 2 and then connect the lines just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after connecting the lines, the next measurement is to initiate our dart. So for the front dart, we are going to use 0.5, 0.7. We can use 0.5 if you wish. It will still bring out the same effect, and then connect it to meet your bust point, just like what you are going to be seeing on the screen. So when you are done connecting, the next measurement is to put our bust dart. So my bust dart is going to be like 2 inches. How did I get the 2 inches? Now my half length is 17.5 and my back half length is 15.5. So the difference between that measurement is what we are going to use, just like what you are going to be seeing on the screen. So for your own, yours might be 1.5, 2.5, 2 inches, 3 inches, depending on how busty you are. Alright, so after you're done, go ahead and connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you're done connecting, it should look like this. So the next measurement is to go ahead and divide our shoulder into 2. Now divide it into 2, the length from there to there, go ahead and mark it. So mine is 4.2 divided by 2, I got 2.1, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So go ahead and do the same thing as well. So after you are done connecting, the next measurement is to measure our under bust, upper bust tightening. Now from your bust point, now the distance between your bust point and your under bust, whatever you have, you take it upward from your bust point. So mine is 3 inches, then I marked it. That should be like 1 point something inches above my across chest measurement or my chest line. So whatever you have, that's what you are going to do. So after marking the 3 inches, let's go ahead and mark our under bust tightening. So for your under bust tightening, you're going to minus your bust measurement from your round under bust measurement. So my bust measurement is 36 and my round under bust is 30. So the difference is going to be 6. That 6, you are going to divide it into 2, divided by 6 rather, so which is going to give you 1. All right, I don't know about yours. So mine, remember we've already marked the bust point, the bust span, then that midpoint, from that midpoint go ahead and mark 1 inch. So from the midpoint to go ahead and mark 1 inch. Now remember we've already marked that, and that dart there is half, so we are going to add half to it and connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So on the side bust, we are going to do the same thing, but remember, sorry guys, this very spot was an error. Do not follow this spot. All right, so the next curve that I'm going to do is what you should follow. All right, just like what you're seeing on the screen. Remember the first one, I didn't place the French curve properly. So this is what you're going to do. It's either you use your hand, just for me to cancel it, that one is not included. So go ahead and curve it just like what you're seeing on the screen. Alright, so when you are done contouring just like what you are seeing on the screen, it should look like this. Remember the first one, please do not make that mistake. Yeah, that very spot is cancelled. Alright, so after you are done doing that, so now the next measurement is to go ahead and measure our center front. So now if you want your own to go up, you can maintain the chest line. For me, from my bust point upward, I'm going to mark ½ inch. Like I said, if you want your own, you can maintain. If you don't want your chest to be showing, you can maintain the half length. So from there, I'll go ahead and mark half from my bust point and then connect it to my under bust. Remember it's half inch. You can use 0.7 or you can use half inch. Alright, so from that midpoint we are going to measure 1.2. Go ahead and measure 1.2 now to get the contour, and then be careful when you are contouring that space. Alright, so that your bust boob will be able to sit properly, just like what you are seeing on the screen. You can see how it is. So now to get the measurement of your side bust, alright, the distance, your bust span, whatever you have, you measure it on the other side, on your side bust, just like what you are going to be seeing on the screen. So now go ahead and mark it. Place your measurement, your tape rule on your bust point, and then mark just like what you're seeing. So mine is 3.8. Alright, so that's what I marked. So after you are done, go ahead and mark yours. Make sure you place your French curve very well. You can either use your hand, or you can use your free hand, or you use the cuff, but let's see how it goes. The cuff is well drawn, so I'm going to use my marker to make it more clearer. So just like what you're seeing on the screen, that's it. So from there, the next measurement, you are going to go up from your across chest line and mark half inch upward, since it's going to be like a tube. And then remember, we already marked 3 inches on the upper chest. You are going to mark 0.7 on both sides. It's either you mark 0.7 on both sides, or you marked 1 inch on this side, or you mark 1.5. But remember, the total of what you need there is 1.5. Alright, it's either you marked 1 inch on the side bust, or you mark half inch close on the other end. So if you have your French curve, go ahead and use it, or you use your ruler, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So when you're done doing that, it should look like this. We are going to close it that remember the side dart. So the next measurement is to go ahead and cut our middle point into 2 in order to close the side dart. Make sure when you are cutting, you should get to the bust point. Do not cut it out. Remember, do not cut it out. So remember, the distance from the distance of our bust dart is 2 inches. So you are going to divide the 2 inches into 2 and mark it, and then connect it to meet your bust point, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done doing that, let's go ahead and cut the pattern paper out, so that it will be easier for us to cut our side bust. So I'll go ahead and cut it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after cutting it out, it should look like this. Go ahead and divide the side bust into 2, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So now it's time for us to close it dart. It's either you close it dart like this, or you close it by this side. So now I'm going to go ahead and close it. Let 1 inch be on top of the other, just like what you are seeing on the skin. You can see the dart is closed. So just like what you're seeing on the screen, just go ahead and use your masking tape or your sellotape, and then close it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done closing it, go ahead and connect the cuff. Alright, connect it well so that you'll be able to cut it. So after you are done cutting it, the next measurement is to go ahead and connect our neckline, how you want it to be. So from where I went up by half an inch on the bust line, alright, so I'm going to connect it from the armhole, just like what you're seeing, the way I went with my hand, and then to go and meet the center point. So let's go into full detail. So go ahead and place it just like what you're seeing on the screen. Don't worry, I'm still going to use my marker to make it a little more clearer. So from there, go ahead and connect it. So we remember, when you are drafting your corset, it should not be like U. You can see this very corset is not like a U shape. It has that oval shape. So you can either close your upper bust that like that, or you cut it out the way I'm going to do. So let's go ahead and use our marker to make it more bold. I know it's taking time, but I believe you are learning. So if you've come this far, kudos to you. Alright, I know with this method you are going to learn. You are going to get something. You won't struggle to learn corsets again. I promise you. Alright. But if you've not subscribed, please do well to subscribe. So the next measurement is to go ahead and measure our bust dart. So place your tape rule just like this. Make sure you had the dart that we measure just like that. Measure your dart and then add to it, to your bust measurement. So after you are done doing that, the next measurement is to measure our bust on the bust point and mark it just like what you're seeing on the screen. Then the next measurement is our under bust. Guys, I didn't know this very spot was not showing, but don't worry. Alright, whatever you have, would measure it, and from there add the dart measurement that we use to it. So the distance between those two darts, whatever you have, you add it to it. Alright, and then connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you are done connecting, the next measurement is to measure our waistline. Go ahead and measure your waistline and then add to it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So for me, my waist is 30. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it just like what you're seeing on the screen. So the next measurement is to go ahead and mark our hip measurement. So where you mark the top line, the top length rather, you are going to use your hip measurement there, because where the top stops is the upper hip of our measurement. So let's go ahead and add the ½ inch that we use from the dart, then go ahead connect it. So after that, the next measurement is to go ahead and add your seam allowance. For me, I use 1 inch. You can use 1/2 or 1.5 or 2 inches depending on what you want, but for me I use 1 inch. After I was done doing that, I'm going to connect just the half that I added for me to be able to cut it properly. You can see the shape of our corset. You can see the way it is. So let's go ahead and cut it out. I would have forwarded all this side, but I wanted you guys to see how it's been cut. Now let's go ahead and cut out the side. So after cutting out the side, let's go ahead and remove our center dart. Just be careful when you are cutting your dart out, just like what you're seeing on the screen. Be careful. All right, so let's go ahead and cut out the dart. You can see that dart, don't worry, we are going to remove it. So let's go ahead and cut the middle. You can see the way I'm cutting it. So from there, let's go ahead and remove that small dart that is left and remove the upper dart. So let's go ahead and mark 1 and then this side 2. So in this tutorial, we are going to divide the corset into 3, but don't worry. So now let's go ahead and remove the dart, just like what you're seeing on the screen. Go ahead and remove the second side of our corset. Be careful when you are cutting it. So what we are going to remove is just that small dart that is there. And if it's pointy, you can go ahead and trim it off a little. Don't worry when trimming it. It's not going to affect your measurement. Alright. Just like what you're seeing on the screen, don't worry, it's not going to affect your measurement. Just make sure you trim it properly so that your corset will not be pointy. So this is what we have for the front. Alright, after we are done cutting, now if you want your corset to be 3-piece, you are going to gum it just like what you're seeing on the screen, and then use your masking tape to gum it down. When you are done using your masking tape, just like what you're seeing on the screen, you can, from the center you can mark 1.5, and for the side you can mark 2.5, depending on how you want it. So and if you want your side, the both sides to be equal, you can make it 2.5. For me, the other side I use 1.5, and the both side, all right, the bigger side I use 2.5. And then the next thing is to go ahead and connect it. You can see it's not straight, so I'll go ahead and cut it out now, just like what you are seeing on the screen. Remember, the fuller side of my bust I use 2.5, the center cutting I use 1.5, and then I went ahead to label it and mark 1, 2, 3. So the next thing is to go ahead and cut it. When it comes to corset, you don't have to rush. Now the main part is the cutting part. You just have to be careful, extra careful. So what I cut out is the excess of the underbust that we gum. In order for it not to affect us, I had to cut it out. So I'll go ahead and label 1, 2 and 3. Always make sure you label it, and when you are cutting it, make sure you notch your bust point. I believe with this method you'll be able to find it easier. So make sure you gum your pattern paper down, pin it down, because this pattern paper, we are going to use it to cut different corsets and to do different finishing. So now it's time to cut the back. Just like what we measure 1 inch, go ahead and measure 1 inch, and then from there, the 1 inch that we are using is our top line. Go ahead and mark your bust point, which is 10.5 for me. Mark yours, and then your half length for the back. Mine is 15.5, like I said. Remember, my front is 17.5, so go ahead and mark it. So when you are done marking, go ahead and connect it. So when you are done connecting the lines, just like what you're seeing on the screen, the next measurement is to go and mark our shoulder measurement. So for the shoulder measurement, we are using 1.2 to get the shoulder slope, and we are going to use 2.5 to get the neck width and connect it. Remember, we are not using this neck. So to get the neck depth, I'm using 1.5 to connect it. So let's go ahead and connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. After connecting it, yours should look like this. So from there, go ahead and measure 7.5. Remember how we got the 7.5? All you need to do is to divide your bust into 6, and whatever you have, you'd add 1.5 to it. And then go ahead and mark it just like what you're seeing on the screen. After you are done marking, go ahead and connect the lines. After connecting the lines, whatever you have on the shoulder, bring it down to your chest line. So let's label the chest line, bust point, half length, and that's it. So the next measurement is to measure our upper hip measurement, which is 5 inch downward from the waistline, and then go ahead and connect it. But if you want your own to stop on the waist level, you can leave it there. So the next measurement is to go ahead and place our bust measurement, our waist measurement, and then our hip measurement. So before then, let's go ahead and maintain the same bust span that we used there. Let's go ahead and measure it on our back measurement. After you are done measuring your bust span, go ahead and connect the lines. So after connecting the line, it should look like this. So the next measurement we are going to do is to measure our dart, which is half for the back, half here and half there. The total of what we use is 1.1 inch. So let's go ahead and connect our dart. So when you are connecting the dart, it should look like this. Alright. So now the next measurement is to go ahead and measure our bust measurement. Mine is 36 divided by 4, you get 6 inches. And then the waistline, go ahead and mark your waist measurement. You can follow this method, or you can just measure your waist and then add the 1 inch to it. So for the top line, we are going to use our hip measurement. My hip measurement is 38 divided by 4, you have 9.5, and then go ahead and connect it just like what you're seeing on the screen. Follow this method. To cinch our waist, alright, I'm going to remove 4 inches. 3 to 4 inches is okay for you. Alright, so the first thing, I'm going to go ahead and remove 0.7 inch from the back waist, from the back length, because that's what we are going to use for our looping. Alright, I'll connect it slantly. On the bust area, I use 0.7, and on the top length area, I use half an inch. You can see the way it is. So now, because I don't want my back to have 2, so I'm going to divide it into 3 parts now. Now the distance from my side bust to where the dart is, I'm going to divide it by 2 and mark it. So when I get to my waistline, so for the hip line, you can give it any shape that you want. So I want the side to be a bit bigger than the middle. Alright, so I'm going to mark the distance from the side to where the dart is 6 inches. So I'm going to use 2 inches on this side and then connect it, and that's how I want mine to be. You can change your own anyhow you want it. Alright, you can use your discretion to put your dart, but make sure you are going to maintain your measurement. So now after I was done doing that, since I'm removing 4 inches, I'm going to share the dart on both sides. So I'm going to put 1 inch dart on the middle, just like what you're seeing on the screen. I'll put it there. That's half inch. And then for the back, I'm going to go in by half inch, making total of 1.5 inch, and for the side I'm going to go by half inch, making a total of 2 inches. That's half inch there, half 1 inch there, and half inch to the back. So I'm going to go ahead and connect it. So that means I'm using 2 inches dart here. The total of what I'm going to use is 4 inches. Remember, if we are cutting this back, we are going to have 2. Alright, so like I said, this is the cutting tutorial. The next tutorial that I'm going to upload is the sewing tutorial, and make sure you get your materials ready. Alright, so let's go ahead and measure our armhole measurement. Sorry guys, I've forgotten that I've already measured my chest line, so that one is cancelled. So the measurement I have on my shoulder is what I'm bringing downward. I'll go ahead and connect it. Remember, for the back measurement, it's not compulsory you remove 4 inches to cinch your waist. You can use 3 inches, alright, depending on how comfortable, how convenient you want it to be on you. So I'll go ahead and contour my armhole after connecting the lines, just like what you're seeing on the screen. Since we are not using the armhole, so the same half inch that I took upward from the chest line of the front is what I did for the back. So for the back, from the back across back, I'll go down by 1 inch and then go ahead and connect it to meet the chest line, just like what you're seeing on the screen. So after you've connected it, just like it should look like this, the next thing is to go ahead and cut out our dart, our back. I had to forward this page because the video was getting longer and there was no way I could shorten it, because if I had shortened it, it would affect some things, some parts which you might not see how it's being done. So the next thing is to go ahead and add my seam allowance, which is 1 inch, and then go ahead and cut it out, just like what you're seeing on the screen. Now, if you've watched this video to this point, kudos to you. Our next tutorial is going to be on how to sew it. Alright, so make sure you get your underbutt wire, get your bra cup. The first sewing is we are going to use bra cup with under wire. Get your hair stay, your paper stay, your lining, your material, get everything down. Alright, so before cutting it, make sure you label it 1, 2 and 3 so that you won't make mistake. Alright, the back is not difficult. So after I was done cutting, this is how it looks like. So yours should look like this. Our next tutorial, remember, is going to be on how to cut corset. On how to sew it. So thanks for watching. Thank you. Alright, see you guys later. Don't forget, get your materials ready, get it